Hey everybody, Jim Powers with MaryvilleSaints.com and Saints Vision as we continue to catch up with our coaches as we've now fully transitioned over to the winter sports season. And joining us is our men's basketball coach, Marc Stricker. And Marc, a great weekend for the guys, 3-0. Solid start against some pretty quality opponents over the weekend and a nice win in exhibition game last night.
Yeah, I was real pleased with the way we performed. We're 3-0, so there's not a whole lot to complain about because we can't take these wins for granted. But to open up the weekend, 2 good in-region Division II wins. You know, Coach Church over at Tiffin is rebuilding that program, and it's a real tough style of play to play against. You know, they're really fast in transition, and they've got a great point guard, so that was a really good win for us. And then on Saturday, we beat a Walsh team that was a borderline NCAA tournament team last year. Now, they were a little banged up. They weren't 100%, but it was a quality win for us. And I think as the season goes on, Walsh is going to win a lot of games, and I think that win will look better and better as the season goes on. And, we had a day off and then one day of prep to play Hannibal last night. And we did some good things last night in the game against Hannibal. A lot of guys got a lot of minutes, and which was really good for us to get some more data to see where we excel and where we need to work on for some guys that don't get a lot of minutes. So I was real pleased with our effort last night.
You know, Casey Chisun comes out of the gate, and he's doing exactly what we know he can do. He's knocking down jumpers all over the place, really being that leader out on the floor for us right now.
Yeah, and the thing about Casey is you don't worry about effort. Casey's a guy that when he goes to the gym, he doesn't just shoot around. Like, he's got a narrow focus on what he's working on, and he works on all parts of his game. So he was hitting jumpers, but that's really not the only way he scored. He had multiple layups. He got to the foul line. He scored out of the post, hit mid-range shots, catch and shoot threes. And I think that's what Casey is. Now, last year when we had Robin and Nolan working together, it made a lot of sense for us to play through the post. And so he kind of took a back seat to that. And to credit Casey, he was fine with it. But we kind of moved him to the front of the bus this year. And he's got to provide scoring punch for us, and he's put in the time, and he's proven that he can do that.
You know, the other thing, too, is I really like, up front, with the guards, I like the combination of Jordan, Gary, and of Dez, running that point position and doing some things. And it's a little bit different, seeing those guys out there than Jimmy Bart and some of the guys we've seen in the past. But, boy, I tell you what, really impressed with their performance this weekend.
Yeah, I think those two had a good weekend. And again, it's – the point guard spot is a tough spot. You got to know a lot of stuff. You got to be able to think on the fly, and they've had a lot of stuff thrown at them, and they've both absorbed it really well. And they're quick and fast, and they're different than each other. Jordan and Dez, they do different things offensively. Their strengths are different, which I really like because there's different options. And they're tough guys. Like Jimmy Barton last year is about as tough as they get, and I love that about Jimmy. And these guys are tough guys as well, and you got to have good point guard play to win games.
Now a little bit of a breather. Pittsburgh State on Monday night out at the old stomping grounds that you used to play in at the auditorium in KC. But what's your plan for this week, having a 6-day break before you take on Pittsburgh State next week?
Yeah, so we're gonna work today. We took Sunday off, so that's our one day off this week. This is a week where we can really fine tune some stuff. So we've got 120 minutes of film that we're able to break down from these last 3 games and really dig into, again, what are we doing well and what do we need to get better at. So we're going to work on a lot of stuff this week, and it's not a week off. We've got an exciting trip ahead of us. We're excited for it.
No doubt about it. Thanks so much, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Jim.
Marc Stricker joins us as he always does during the season. Once again, the men will play Monday night, 6 o'clock against Pittsburgh State out in Kansas City at the Municipal Auditorium. We'll be following on Twitter all night long with all the results and how the guys are doing there. And then next week, we'll catch up with Coach, talk about the great tournament that's going to take place up at UMSL over Thanksgiving break. For Coach, I'm Jim Powers. Thanks so much for tuning in to MaryvilleSaints.com and Saints Vision. Have a great week. And as always, go Saints.